Right now, as you watch this video, the President of the United States is sitting inside the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, meeting face-to-face with China's President Xi Jinping. Meanwhile, American military forces are engaged in an active conflict in the Middle East, gas prices are surging, and the world is holding its breath. So why exactly is Trump in China right now? And what does it mean for you? Stay with me. To understand why this meeting matters so much, we need to go back to February 28th, 2026, just 75 days ago. The United States and Israel launched a coordinated series of airstrikes on Iran, targeting military facilities and nuclear sites. In those strikes, Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed. That single event changed everything. Iran immediately retaliated, launching hundreds of missiles and thousands of drones at U.S. military bases across the Gulf, at Israel, and at neighboring Arab states. The damage was enormous. Then, on March 4th, Iran made a move nobody fully expected. They announced the Strait of Hormuz was closed. Now, if you don't know what the Strait of Hormuz is, think of it as the world's most important oil pipe. Before this conflict, roughly 20% of the world's entire oil supply passed through that narrow waterway every single day. Closing it was Iran's most powerful weapon. Not a missile, not a drone, but a choke point. Gas prices spiked, shipping costs exploded. Countries across Asia started running low on fuel. The global economy began feeling the pressure almost immediately. A fragile ceasefire was eventually brokered in April, but it's barely holding. Trump himself called it, and I'm paraphrasing here, on massive life support just days ago. Okay. May 14th, 2026. President Trump landed in Beijing yesterday, making this his first visit to China since 2017. He was greeted with full ceremony at Beijing Capital Airport, and today he sat down with President Xi Jinping at the Great Hall of the People for what the White House is calling a high-stakes summit. Trump called Xi, and these are his actual words, a great leader, as they sat down together. On the agenda, the Iran conflict, trade between the two countries, Taiwan, and even artificial intelligence. Traveling with Trump is a who's who of American business. Apple's Tim Cook, Tesla, and SpaceX's Elon Musk, and more than a dozen other top corporate executives. There are expectations that China will announce plans to buy more American farm goods and Boeing aircraft, part of an ongoing effort to stabilize the trade relationship between the two countries. But the elephant in the room is Iran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said clearly before the trip that the U.S. would be urging China to take a more active role in pushing Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Here's why China matters so much in this equation. China is the single biggest buyer of Iranian oil. That gives Beijing real diplomatic leverage over Tehran that Washington simply doesn't have right now. However, analysts are cautioning that China won't help for free. Experts are saying Beijing will likely want concessions from the US, and the biggest one on China's wish list is Taiwan. In other words, China may use America's difficult position in the Middle East as an opportunity to gain ground on the Taiwan issue. That's a trade-off that makes many in Washington deeply uncomfortable. So why should you care about a meeting happening thousands of miles away in Beijing? 3 very direct reasons. First, your gas prices. The Strait of Hormuz being effectively closed has already pushed oil prices significantly higher. Every time you fill up your car, you're feeling the ripple effects of this conflict. If Trump can get China to help reopen that waterway, prices could come down. If he can't, they could go higher. Second, the broader economy. It's not just gas. Shipping costs for almost everything, electronics, food, clothing, have risen because of rerouted supply chains. Companies are passing those costs on to consumers. That's you. Third, the risk of escalation. The ceasefire right now is fragile. There have already been fresh exchanges of fire in the strait just days ago. If diplomacy fails, if this summit produces nothing, the situation could deteriorate rapidly. And an escalating conflict in the Persian Gulf is something the entire world needs to take seriously. The stakes of this Beijing meeting couldn't be higher, and the outcome is genuinely uncertain. So what are we watching for in the next 48 hours. Trump's schedule includes 2 full bilateral meetings with Xi, a state banquet tonight, and a tour of the Temple of Heaven. The White House says Americans should expect the president to announce new trade deals before he leaves China. But the real question is whether China will commit to actively pressuring Iran, and at what price. Analysts say everything is still in flux, and economic deliverables that are normally locked in before a summit like this are still being negotiated right now as we speak. We'll be watching every development closely, and if anything major breaks from Beijing in the next 24 hours, we'll cover it immediately. That's the full picture behind why Trump is in China while America is at war, and what it means for your wallet and the world. Every day on 24-Hour Drop News, we break down the one story everyone is searching for, in plain English, no fluff. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications.